The next thing I want to talk about, the next horror story, is this bullshit against Hunter Biden. I guess you heard, I think it was yesterday, that the FBI informant that the Christian fascists and every scummy host on the Fox sewer have been promoting as the real deal. Here's the information. FBI, he's an informant. He's got all the information about Joe Biden, about Hunter Biden, millions of dollars in payoffs. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Turns out that he's a liar and he's been indicted. This guy was central to the Christian fascist impeachment inquiry against Joe Biden in Congress. I mean, these son of a bitches, they can't even pull a scam correctly. None of them can. And also heard that there has been some evidence presented to Congress. Why it's going to Congress, I have no idea. About what's his name, the Florida representative who has been accused of trafficking in young girls for sexual reasons. Anyway, the informant that presented all this bullshit to the leaders, the Christian fascist leaders in the House, his name is Alexander Smirnov. Alexander Smirnov? All right. Hunter Biden, Joe Biden, and these Christian devils. And that's what they are. If you are a follower of the Christian religion and you really believe that your Messiah is as presented by what used to be standard Christian theology, that Jesus was a healer, a loving man, someone who was gentle and kind, if you still believe that and you go to church, good on you. I absolutely support your right to believe whatever you want to believe. If you are a type of Christian, though, that sees the religion being primary and the so-called Messiah not even in the picture, then to hell with you. Just straight to hell with you, because you are corrupting and destroying this country, and you turn my stomach. That's why I call you Christian fascists, because that's exactly what you are. All right, after that little tirade, now let me go back to what's going on here. This FBI informant that was integral to all the screaming and farting and wheezing that the right wing in media, that would be the Fox sewer, especially a couple of those little rats over there, and the Christian fascists who control the U.S. House, that guy, that FBI informant, has been charged with making up totally making up a multi-million-dollar bribery scheme that involved Joe Biden, his son Hunter, and the Ukrainian energy company. And all of this shit is central to the Christian fascist impeachment inquiry that's going on in Congress right now. No, not the one about Mayorkas, that was already decided, but the one about Joe Biden. Now, the creep's name, this liar, this asshole, is Alexander Smirnov. And like I mentioned earlier, is that Russian? Is that Irish? What kind of name is Smirnov? Yeah, right. He lied when he reported to the FBI in June of 2020 that executives associated with the Ukrainian energy company Burisma had paid Hunter and Joe Biden $5 million each in, 2015 or 2016. That's what prosecutors put in the indictment. He lied. Prosecutors against this Smirnov asshole. Smirnov told his handlers that an executive claimed to have hired Hunter Biden to, quote, protect us through his dad from all kinds of problems, end quote. That's according to court documents. So this Alexander Smirnov asshole that was heavily backed by the fascist right wing in this country, whether it was in media or politics, it turns out that Smirnov is nothing but a goddamn liar, like so many, if not all, of these Republican scum really are. Prosecutors say Smirnov, in fact, had only routine low-level business dealings with the company in 2017 and came up with this bribery bullshit after he, quote, expressed bias, end quote, against Joe Biden while he was a presidential candidate. Oh, really? Oh, my goodness. Now, this bullshit that Smirnov had concocted, all of it, like I said, had been central to the Republican effort to investigate the president and his family. And it helped initiate what is now a House impeachment inquiry into Biden, into Joe Biden. Oh, my God. An attorney for Hunter Biden, who is expected to give a deposition in this bullshit impeachment inquiry later this month. This attorney said the charges against Smirnov show that the probe is, quote, based on dishonest and uncredible allegations and witnesses, end quote. Well, yeah. I mean, truly, seriously, did you, gentle listener, believe for a moment that Joe Biden, Hunter Biden, I know from Adam's House Cat. Don't know. But Joe Biden, can you see Biden holding his hand out for a $5 million bribe from some business geek in Ukraine? No, of course you can't. A top Democrat on this oversight committee, you know what I'm talking about, Representative Jamie Raskin, called for an end to the whole bullshit Biden impeachment inquiry. Just deep six it, trash it, because it's garbage. Raskin said the allegations from the Christian fascists, that's my term, he calls them Republicans still, that the allegations against Biden, quote, have always been a tissue of lies built on conspiracy theories, end quote. And Raskin pretty much demanded that the Christian Nazi, who is the House Speaker, Mike Johnson, and the Oversight Committee Chair, James Comer, another Christian Nazi, and the House Republicans who still think, well, I guess they think Trump won the election to, quote, this is Raskin, quote, stop promoting this nonsense and end their doomed impeachment inquiry, end quote. Now, as far as how these Christian devils will hold on to something, even when the truth is staring them right in the face. When you stop and think about James Comer, this silly bastard who's the chairman of the Oversight Committee, a Christian fascist, he downplayed the importance of the informant now, even though I think it was a year ago, it was Comer who stood up on his hind legs and started braying about, well, we have irrefutable proof now. Now we're going to get this son of a bitch. And it's all central to what Mr. Smirnov has told us because he's an informant who's gone to the FBI and yada, yada. Remember that? Well, now Comer downplayed the importance of Smirnov in a statement referring to the form that has Smirnov's allegations, the document. Comer said, to be clear, the impeachment inquiry is not reliant on, and then he gave the classification of the FBI's document. It's not dependent on that. Oh, no. Jesus Christ. Comer said, he went on to say that the inquiry. Now listen to this. I mean, this is the part that really gets me about these devils. No matter what kind of truth slams them in the face, they're not going to pay any attention to it. They stick with their lies and their bullshit. So Comer said that the entire inquiry, quote, is based on a large record of evidence, including bank records and witness testimony, including interviews this week, end quote. And he said his committee, don't laugh when I tell you this, he said his committee will, quote, continue to follow the facts. Continue to follow the facts. Jesus Christ. And determine whether to proceed with the articles of impeachment against Biden. Well, here's another example of the craziness, the sickness of what happens when you join a cult that takes over your entire life, which is what Comer and Johnson and the rest of these Christian Nazis have done. They have sworn allegiance to their Antichrist, Donald Trump. And it doesn't make any difference what the truth is, what facts are, what evidence produces. No. We don't believe that bullshit. We believe what our Lord and Master tells us to believe, and he told us to impeach Joe Biden because of Burisma. In the indictment against this so-called informant, prosecutors say that Mr. Smirnov had contact with Burisma executives, but it was just routine business bullshit and actually took place in 2017 after President Barack Obama and Biden, at the time the vice president, had left office, when Biden would have had no ability whatsoever to influence U.S. policy. It was turned over to the Antichrist, Donald Trump. And didn't he do a good job, huh? According to, according to the indictment, it says this, the indictment against Smirnov, it says this, quote, Smirnov transformed his routine and unextraordinary business contacts with Burisma in 2017 and later into bribery allegations against public official number one, that would be Biden, the presumptive nominee of one of the two major political parties for president, after expressing bias against public official number one and his candidacy, end quote. And then this jerk off, I'm sure he was backed by all these Republicans, by all these Christian fascists. I'm sure he was backed and promoted by the Fox sewer and the grunions who show up on their television network every night. But he repeated the false bullshit when he was interviewed by the FBI agents last September. And he changed his story about other claims and, according to prosecutors here, quote, promoted a new false narrative after he said he met with Russian officials. Russian officials. You begin to see, don't you, as I do, as anybody who can read begins to see, how broad, how wide this conspiracy is to destroy our government. Hi, Truth Seekers. Mike Malloy here. You know, the Progressive Voices Network brings you commercial-free commentary from today's leading progressive radio hosts and pundits, like me, Mike Malloy, 24 hours a day. I'm not your typical old guy from the 80s or the 90s talk radio host, and Progressive Voices is not your typical talk radio network. It's a listener-supported nonprofit with no corporate control whatsoever over our broadcast. So hosts like me, Mike Malloy, are free to rant and scream and carry on about whatever we like. We're often controversial, but we're never boring. Weeknights, 9 p.m. in the East, 6 p.m. in the West on the Progressive Voices Network. Always progressive, always on. I'm Mike Malloy. Keep it lit.